Login accepted.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to the tech capital of the world in Kernersville, North Carolina. It is another live coding Friday. Kevin, how you feeling?
I'm good. We're back for part 5.
Yeah, right. Part 5. We took a couple of weeks off, go on vacation, and we're back.
Yeah.
So
what are we? What are we building again? I forget. Our movie game.
Yeah.
Obscura.
Yeah, Obscura.
I like it.
So utilizing your cool logo and everything. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's cool. So what are we going to build today?
So we've been working on the game, and so I'll just show you real quick.
Yeah. How far are we? I forget where we ended up.
Yeah, we're pretty far.
Let's play
along.
it. Let's play.
Yeah, I got one up. So what do you think, man?
Well, I'm
remember
sure
who the enemy is.
Yeah, this is one of those Jennifer Lawrence movies, isn't it? I don't remember which one. Hunger Games, whatever. I don't know which one. I don't know which one though. Do you?
No, we got to remember. So it's Hunger Games.
Something with a C look down there.
Yeah.
Catching Fire.
Catching Fire.
There you go. Give me that.
There we go. So we could guess. Look at that. We got it right.
We got it in one.
So we have this like you won here and 1 guesses. I should fix that. But like, and then it shows the poster, and then it gives us our guesses here. But it looks like our thing isn't quite working, is it? We'd do more than 5 hints. We need to look at that maybe.
Yeah, should we show all 5 at the end when you get it right then? Is that something we should do?
100%. That's what it should do, but it's not.
Okay.
So we need to. That's a bug. So the other thing I think here, if I hit play again, you notice here it doesn't really clear it all the way out. So that's kind of weird. And it still has this up here. So I want to do that.
Yeah.
And fix a couple of things. And then over here, we've got this question mark button and this gear button. And this should show us some instructions when we click on it. So I'm going to build a modal, do some instructions.
Okay.
And then over here, a settings page, which will allow the user to pick the decade they want or the years they want to use. And then maybe the genre.
So we can make the game harder.
Make it harder. Or if you feel like you're a horror movie expert and you just want to see horror movie posters, you're that 1940 cinema buff. So
Sure. Like I said, make the game harder.
Exactly.
You choose only horror movies from the 40s. Like, I think we're in trouble.
Yeah.
But you could do that, right?
Action movies from the 80s. We feel like we got that one.
Oh, we got that. Oh, yeah. We got that. Maybe the 90s.
Yeah, the 80s and 90s. So, and the one thing that we will run into, I have, played with this before. Like the more restrictive we put on this stuff there, the less movies that actually come back. So we may have to address that if we don't get a movie or something like that.
Okay.
So, but we'll see. But first, maybe we can at least clean these bugs up, and then maybe look at why all these hints aren't coming here. So let's try this one more time. I don't know what this is here.
It's that
Revenge proves
no,
Revenant.
No, it's Revenant. Yeah.
Okay. Revenant. Then Revenant. How do you spell it? Revenant. All right.
Yeah.
Probably that right there, right?
Yep.
But I'm going to put Tokyo's Revenge because I want to see kind of what's going on here. So it gives me 2 here. And so we know it's Revenant. I can type. Revenant. I can't spell that. There you go.
There you go.
Revengeant. There's 2 of these. Wow. Okay.
That one.
Okay, so we got it right in 2 guesses, and it only showed the next guess, so it didn't complete all. That's what it's doing. So it's only showing the current guesses. So like, if you make a guess, it shows the next hint. But maybe when we have our win condition, we could just say show all the hints, that stuff like that. This seems to be working. But if we hit play again, it doesn't get rid of all these. It gets this one, but like this should clear out. So it does kind of clear that out, but it doesn't clear this out. I don't know what that is. Sorry. So let's get to work here. What do you think?
Yeah. Go for it.
All right. So I'm going to stop this for now. We'll break into the code, and let's just look at the page here. So this is again built in Blazor, and so this is our client object, and so over here, this is all our whole page here. And so somewhere, I got to remember this code now because it's been a while since we looked at it. So we're adding guesses every time someone hits the handle submit here. So we say if check if the users reach the max guesses. If it's game over, show overlay. Okay, so let's look at what we did here. So reveal the poster, win equals true, game over. So this is if we get a guess here. The release date and the movie title is right. We have a win equals true, or game over equals true. Else we show a thing, and then we add a guess. Okay, but we know that our guesses are everything. So incorrect equals win. So that's our guess there. And then this is our hints. Where's our hints coming in? So that's just the guesses. Where are the hints coming in?
Is this like a typical process you have to go through, I'm assuming, right? If you're looking at a code base, I mean, don't forget, you coded this, so, but it's been a minute since you looked at it.
I know, but it's been a minute since
No, I'm saying, like, that's got to be a common process, right? When you're looking at, like, code that you've coded before a while ago, or somebody else's, right? You're trying to, like, understand, you're trying to figure out the logic, right? To see, like, where your different bits come in and how you did it.
Yeah, so this is my hints. I built all these hints, and then I have a build hint. Okay. So I'm building all the hints ahead of time. So we do have them, right? And so now we got to know how the display is working. So that's the get hints. And that's the build hint. All right. So let's go back up here and look at it. So, you know, when you're funny, me and Jacob were talking the other day, like sometimes you look at code that you wrote like last year, and you'll make comments to yourself like, what moron wrote this? Like, what was he thinking? And you look at the commit history and you're like, oh, that was me, the moron that wrote it. So you always have, here we go here. So we got a new game, we get our hints, and then we play, and then basically everything happens here. So win equals true, else win, guesses add. How do those hints show up? Like, what is it doing? Do we have a show hint? Surely we got a show hint. Right, so this is the models region. Let's get rid of that. It's not the type ahead. Did I put it there? Nope. Now I just got to look for it. Somehow I'm doing this. Maybe it's reveal poster.
It's here somewhere.
Somewhere, yeah. Reveal poster. Show random square. I don't see what I'm doing here. Man, poster. I'm an idiot. Reset game, show overlay. I know that's what that does. That gets the game hint. Render. All right, let me look at get hints again and see how we did it. Sorry about this.
I think that's fine, because I think this kind of highlights that even though you've chose to do it a certain way, there's like many ways to do these things, right?
Oh yeah.
People often get confused with coding stuff like this, because it's like when it gets kind of complex, there's no necessarily wrong and right way, or I should say there's many ways to do it. There's probably preferred ways to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, so these hold the hints here, so I'm just going to search for hints here, see what I did. Okay. Hints. Maybe I did it in the UI. That's probably where I did it. All right. Okay. So what I'm doing here is I'm looping over the hint right here and order it by the order. And then I show this based on the number of guesses. Hint.show or hint order. Okay. So that's I don't ever modify the hints at all. So that's a problem. I think that's the problem. So basically, I'm just saying, show the hint, text, and me if the order or the show. And so if I change the show of all the hints, then these will show up. So either one of those conditions, I'm just not modifying this. Okay. So basically the guesses here, I'm just looking at the guess side of it. Like, what's the guess? Show one of them. Show the one that has a guess. And then if I put them to show either of those true, it would just loop over all of them. If I set all of them to show to be true. All right.
So that's what you need to do on the when you've got it correct, right? I guess.
When I got it correct. So now we'll go down here and look at our win condition. So like only when we win. So right here, submit. This is what's checking to see if the movie title is correct with my comment. And then what I need to do here now is show all the hints, right?
Makes sense.
Yeah. So I can either write this as a for loop. Let's see here. Just loop over them. Something like that. Probably could. I'll just do it right there.
If you do that, will that account for the ones that have already shown, or?
Yeah, I'm just setting them all to true. So either or, that's an or statement. So it'll just check one of them has to be true, and it'll start showing them.
Okay. Because like you said, they're there all the time. They're just hidden, right?
Yeah, they're just hidden. They're always there. We get them ahead of time.
Yeah.
We could just write a function reveal all hints. So I'm going to do that. Like, let's see where it was at. So I'm going to write a method to do it just to keep up with how I did this. So
yeah, that makes sense because otherwise that bit of code there is going to get complex, isn't it?
Well, it's just a loop, but like, we'll just show all hints.
You know what I find fascinating about this too, even though this is kind of it's a fairly simplistic game on its face value, right? There's a million things. There's a million edge cases in this thing, I swear. Every time we play it, we're like, oh, there's that. There's all these little things you have to take into account, which I guess is the same with any app you build, right? It seems like, oh, that's simplistic. It just does ABC. But you don't realize there's all these little edge cases and all these little ways to handle different things.
Yeah, so
they get quite complex.
Yeah, so I wrote over quick for each loop. Copilot helped me out there. That's awesome, Copilot. Today it's not schizophrenic, so today it's a good day for it. It's on its meds. So I'm going to come over here and just call this method, and this should do it. And just going to put them all right here. Do it right like this, and then set this stuff up. It doesn't matter which order I run it in, but all right, so let's run it and just see if that part works.
First time to charm with this. It's going to work.
100% it'll work. First time, every time. Now I'm having like flashbacks. Did I check that code Copilot gave me? That's what I was thinking in my mind. Just tell you the fear of going live here. All right, so hello, Crew World. So Cruella, was that what it was called?
Yep. It's a surprisingly good movie, actually.
No. It was a good movie, actually.
Yeah. I was not expecting it to be good, and it was good.
Yeah. So this should show us all the hints. Close. There it goes.
There we go. Cool.
And then I have one guess, which just makes sense. And she's such a talented actress, man. You know, she's so funny.
Yeah. She's very much that character. It's good.
Yeah.
convincing.
Yeah, and then so if it played again, it does reset and resets that, but this doesn't wipe out. So I want to wipe this out. Play it again. So I want to do one more.
I like that.
So let's see if we can do this with
So what is your thinking on wiping that out then? How are you logically going to think about that?
It's
again
wipe
something
the box out.
It's something again you do at the end of game.
So I've got a play again.
Okay.
And then a reset. So the reset the game state.
Okay.
I'm setting everything here, so I'm just going to set it all here. So I'll look at what this is bound to. So I'll go up here and look at the button here. Where is it? This is the game board. That's the game. This is the poster. This is the board. So we'll look at this, each square. Oh, game board. We want the controls. Never mind. This is what we want. Button, guesses, hints. It's this one up here. All right. And so this is the movie title. Form model movie title. Yes. Okay. So we could just set the form model to new, because if we look in here, this is just a, we go down here to our models to show you this is our form model. So we can just set our form model equal new form model, something like that. Okay. And it'll just reset it all. So play again. We reset the game. We could say new game, reset game state. We'll just put it in game state. Like all this could be in one thing, but this looks like where the majority of these are.
Yeah.
So form model, whatever that's called. Is that what we call it? Form model. Equals new. And this is the magic of Blazor, that because I set this to new, it just wiped the format and it binds it up already, which is kind of cool.
Oh.
So I wasn't looking to see if our changes changed. I'm just going to rerun it. Okay. Some Lord of the Rings, you know these posters, man.
Oh, yeah, but that's a...
Which one is it?
Return of the King. Is it? Oh, is it?
Okay.
No, it's not. Fellowship of the Ring. Yeah,
probably Fellowship?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be that one.
All right. Okay, so we got it right. And if we hit play it again, it should clear these out, clear the guess out, clear that out. See that?
There we go.
And that's what it did. Cool.
Is it?
Or that works. It could be cleaner, but like it does work. You know, it takes them a second to do all what it needs to do.
Yeah.
We could probably do it quicker by like not relying on get hints to do it and just set hints equal to nothing, and it would just clear it out immediately. That's one other thing we could do.
Okay.
So just make it better. Because what we're doing here is when we reset the game state, we set the form model new, but we don't do anything with the hints. And when we say new game, it comes down here to new game.
Okay.
And it calls this get hints, which has to go to a service and get all these things.
Right.
And so the screen doesn't update until this completes. And you saw that took a second or two.
Yep.
So like,
yeah,
we could just say hints equal. Let's see what this is. Hints is probably a list of something. Okay, we'll just say hits equal new. And just like we did the other one. And I think that'll fix it. That'll make it look a lot better. I wasn't watching, so I'm going to just rerun it. So this will reset everything that we want to reset, I think, and it'll look a lot cleaner. So far we're just fixing some stuff. We're not really coding anything, but that's okay. I do think one thing you can when you're building apps, and all the guys out there, is like, it is important to work on the details, making it polished, because as good as it is, it can seem clunky, and then people just discount it over one minor, like,
you're right. People won't get over the fact that it flashes somewhere or does a weird thing, or you're right, the box doesn't clear out, even though it's such a like silly thing.
Yeah. So far, we haven't missed a movie yet. So. All right. So now when I play it again, this should go away immediately. This should clear out, and then we'll wait for the poster to change over.
Okay. There you go. Yep. That was perfect.
Much better.
Way better. You know? Yeah. Way better.
So, anyway, here's the one adventure will change 2 worlds. Okay. I don't know.
I don't know this one.
We don't know this one. All right, well, we'll just guess one more since we didn't know this one. We know that the text is in red down there.
Yeah. One adventure.
It's blue.
Anyone in chat know?
Space adventure. It's not E.T., is it? There's no way.
No, it's not E.T. It's definitely not E.T. The tagline's not red, and it would be longer. I don't reckon.
Yeah, because there'd be some. I see the moon up there. I don't know what this is.
2 worlds. Think about a movie with 2 worlds. I really don't know. We need another box open. Let's get some.
Yeah. So
give us part of the title, otherwise we're definitely not getting this.
Guardian of the Moon. We'll guess. We know that's right.
That classic movie. Oh, the moon though. So.
Who is Jay Baruchel?
No idea.
Do we get like a random Indian movie here? From Bollywood?
I don't know. No.
I don't know.
I don't know. It's not American Werewolf in London, is it?
That's not 2 worlds.
I don't remember that. It's not. No, it's not. It can't be that. No, you're right.
I don't know what it is. I'm going to guess, but I know there's a moon in that. Ooh, there's a green eye. This is some animated feature that we don't know.
Oh, is that what it is? Okay, that's why.
Chris Sanders is the mastermind behind this one, so he's the director.
Again, no idea.
I have no idea. Anybody in the audience know?
Nobody said anything. Okay. Jacob knows. It's How to Train Your Dragon.
Okay. All right, 1 or 2.
I don't know.
Or the Hidden World. Which one?
I guess we'll go. World? He didn't say, so I guess we're going with the first one.
Homecoming. We got this one, 19.
How many of these are there? I don't know. There's more than one. You got to go for the OG one, surely, just to start. I don't see a 2 on there anywhere. There you go.
There you go.
Wow. There you go.
So Jacob doesn't have kids. How did he know this?
Big into animation, and he's a big Chris Sanders fan. I don't know. You just have that
He
does have that Chris Sanders tattoo, so there is that. We should have known.
Yeah, that's his favorite director. So.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
So let's get the question mark.
Let's go easy. This should be fairly easy. We're going to use a Bootstrap modal for this and just pop up some instructions. The hardest part would just be laying the page out. But what I want to show you here is, even though we made an overlay, a custom overlay, didn't use anything to make our custom overlay. What I want to show in this one is, like, we could use Bootstrap or other things, other libraries, you can call those, inside of Blazor. So let's just use Bootstrap for the next thing, even though we could use our same overlay component we did before. But I just want to show you there's more than one way to skin a cat. So if you look at here, I'm gonna bring up a website and just show you kind of my process, instead of like making you think that everything I do is magic. This right here is Get Bootstrap, and when I'm using Bootstrap, this is always up when I'm looking at it, because if I want to use a component, I might need to copy some code just because I don't want to type this in, or I can't remember exactly how to do it, because there's a lot of classes and attributes you got to remember to make it work. And so hopefully if anyone's watching, that gives them comfort. Like, I don't have all of this memorized to memory. except one case, I probably could do modals by memory, but like, you know, because I've done them a million times. But if you can't, I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to make a modal. Get out of here. So, yeah. And we're going to make this as a UI component. Right? So I'm going to say add razor component, and we'll just call it instructions modal.
So what's the main reason for making it a component then? What advantage does that give us?
I'm going to show you in a second, because this would make it would put a lot of code in the page, and it's just markup code, you know. I mean, so like the simpler you can keep your main page, the better, in my opinion, and it's easier to figure out what's going on, and you don't have all of these things to scroll through.
Right.
We already have a lot of code in this page. You know, there's already a lot of code.
What are we at, 500 and something lines?
Yeah, it's a lot, you know. So like and I could add a modal down here, and then the modal is just a piece of HTML that lives on the page. But I already have this win-loss overlay. You can see I wrote that as a component. So I'm going to use just put another component on here, and I can drop it anywhere on the page because of the way overlays work. So, and then, so I'll show you in a second, and it just makes the page over there cleaner. So I'm going to go back to my page over here, my Bootstrap code here. I think I have it. I'm going to copy this, and then we're going to modify it. All right. And so this is just a modal component. And you can see here, you need a button and you need a modal. So I'll just take this one. This works. All right. And then I'm going to just put this in here. The other thing too that shouldn't be lost on people is that this is just HTML right here. This component's going to have no code. We're just using it so we can make our page simpler, our markup simpler. And this right here in the middle here is where our body's going to be. But because we copied it over from Bootstrap, I'm going to change a couple of things. Instead of example modal, I'm going to just call it instructions modal. Did I spell instructions right? Instructions, looks like it. And then label by, and then we'll do the same thing here. And this is just so that it's okay, it's valid. And let's go here. And then I'm going to go instructions label. And then we're here, we could just start actually putting our stuff in so that we can see what we want to call. And this title here will say how to play obscure or something like that. How to play obscura. Obscura. And then here we have this close button here that'll knock it off. And then let's just put a H1 in here. And so this content goes here. So let's wire it up first, and then we'll come back and design it. All right, so now we should have a modal that pops up. And what I want to be able to do is open and close it, make sure this works in all cases. So all we need is, we don't need a save here. We're not going to do a save. We just need a close button. And then we need to keep this. Okay, so now we can come back to our page. We have our component over here, and we can just drop it on the page. Should find it. Boom. See how that makes it cleaner? And yeah. So I don't have all that HTML in here. I just have these modal. And since it's a modal, it can go anywhere on the page. It doesn't have to be inline or anything like that.
Okay.
This is the way modals work.
Yeah.
And now what I need to do is make sure that this question circle button here can actually launch this modal. So we can go back and look at our Bootstrap doc. And this is what the buttons look like to launch them. And basically you have this right here, and then the target. So you need the, I'll just copy this whole button here, and then we'll just use what we need. And then this is what our button currently looks like. And then, so I'm using a class to style it, controls button, so I don't need this. What I do need is just the toggle and then the BS target. And that's it. And this is what will make a button, a modal button, a modal button. So now I can get rid of this. Now what I have to do is make sure that this target here targets my ID. So instructions modal. And I will check it again one more time because I've been live before and didn't do this right.
Remember, it is plural there, instructions modal.
Instructions.
I think you had instructions.
Right, there you go. Paste it. There you go. All right, so now we've got a button here and should work. So we'll run it and see if we get our placeholder to pop up.
So right now we're just testing whether the modal pops up at all, right? There's going to be nothing in it.
Yeah. Yeah. And this is, my process is always you wire things up, you scaffold things up before you do a whole lot of work. Because then you, at least you know, you have a starting point when you break something.
Yeah, because if you do all the work and you put all the content in there and then you figure out it doesn't work and maybe you've got to take a new approach, right? And all your work's for naught. There you go.
There you go. Like, and it should close if I click out, it does. It should close if I click over here, it does. And then it should close if I hit the button. And it does. All right, so that totally works. Now we just need to style it and then put our actual content in there. So
and all of the animation stuff from that comes from Bootstrap, right?
This comes from Bootstrap. So we're calling a JavaScript functionality in Bootstrap from within Blazor. And notice we didn't have to write any interop to do that because of the way Bootstrap works. It uses, but you know, it is using JavaScript to do that. That's the way Bootstrap is built. And it's seamless.
Yeah, it's cool. Yeah, definitely.
All right. Let's see if we can style this thing. So now, once you have this in a modal, this modal built out, and it's just a component here, we don't need to worry about this page anymore. And this is the other thing, was we make smart pages, dumb components, but like, you know, we're just going to, this is wired up. This is ready to go. This page is going to do all the work. Now we just tell it what to show. So pretty easy to do. First and foremost, we are going to make this dark. And so Bootstrap has something called BS theme. It's built in, and you just give it a dark theme and it'll make it dark now.
Oh, nice.
That's pretty much all you got to do. Pretty simple. We've got our title here, and then our button is just an X button. That's what this class does, makes it X button. And then here is all of our content. All right. Now what I'm going to do is change all this around, and I'm going to make a list, an unordered list, and I'll make it work with Bootstrap. So it's called list group, I believe. Yep. And there's one called flush, means that they're all grouped together pretty tight. And we know it's dark, so we're just going to make sure that it's light. So it's something like that. List group flush, list group text light. That'll make all the text white. And then in here, we're going to make LIs for each instruction thing that we want. All right, so we'll make our first one. And it's list group item. And again, I could look this up on Bootstrap, but I kind of know how these work, just because I've done them a lot. We'll make these transparent. And so this is a transparent background. So this thing won't be white. It'll just be transparent. And then because we made it day theme dark, it's dark. So it'll work. Put a border 0 on it. And I'm not sure if I need this, but I'm going to make sure that this thing is light. That's border 0. Okay. So that's our basic setup. And this will be pretty easy from here. We need an icon, and then I'm going to have an icon, and then the instruction. So, BI light bulb. And these are all from Bootstrap as well. So like light bulb fill. And text warnings, the color, this will be yellowish. And then we'll make a yellowish light bulb. And then we'll margin end it so there's a little padding between it. And then here, strong. And we'll say start with a hint. And what it'll do is give you a hint. That's, you'll get a clue, and then you try to guess the poster. Something like that. You get a clue about the movie, and then so that's our first hint. And then I can just copy this and just make the rest of the instructions here. Change out what I want to do here. We'll call this one image, and then this one we'll go info. Make it a little different color. And obscured poster. I don't know if these make sense, but you might can make these easier. You could say, just guess the poster. I don't know.
Right.
Maybe there's
right.
Maybe this doesn't need any instructions. Maybe
that's the thing. Your instructions to be as complex or as simple as you feel necessary.
Yeah.
Right. I mean.
Yeah. So, who knows? With only one square, I think.
Just have the modal pop up and it just says, guess the poster, you idiot.
Yeah. How hard can this game be? So something like that. Square is not a G, it is a Q. Wow. Q, right? Right. The poster starts hidden with only one square visible. Obscured poster. Let's make another thing. Then maybe we'll talk about autocomplete, something like that, maybe. So search for a poster. So we'll say search. I'm changing these colors, every time to make them simpler. So type your guess. Then you could do something like autocomplete helps you or something like that. The typing, it doesn't have an E, right?
No, that's right.
Yep. Autocomplete. It doesn't look complete. Copilot doesn't help you with spelling at all, which is kind of weird.
Yeah, that is another
Should.
One. Is that an additional? There must be I bet there's a spelling plugin though, isn't there? For this probably.
Oh, maybe.
Not Copilot,
maybe get paid more.
I guess. Yeah. Oh, maybe. Maybe.
All right, let's make some more here. So let's see. X, circle, and text danger. I'm showing the full color palette here. And then we say wrong guess. So if you're wrong, and another square is and hint is revealed. So let's do that. I'm just trying to make it look kind of finished, you know. You have 5 guesses. Right. And then finally we could put one more in here. Other guesses. And then full poster is revealed. And we'll say I feel. Maybe this will work. I think it'll be good enough. You know what I mean?
We'll see when you run it.
I mean, does it look good? I don't know. We'll see. I don't know what it's going to look like totally. I'm guessing here. And the answer is shown. Okay, let's put one. We got the lose condition. We need to put one like where you win. That was kind of dumb on my part. Let's do this trophy. So you get them right. Make this green for success. And then win. Okay, something like that. All right, so let's run it. And hopefully I typed it all right. That was pretty easy, though, to make it look cool. Okay, so now we can say instructions.
There you go.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is weird. This is not white. I think this should be bigger. So maybe we can make it bigger.
Like wider or
this is
long?
Not white. Yeah, wider. Yeah, okay. Wider. Something like that. I think we definitely can do that. All right. And that's all built into Bootstrap. So
okay.
So with Bootstrap over here on this dialog here, you can set things. So modal dialog centered. And then you can also modal large. I'm going to set the color somewhere else. Modal large. All right. So dialog centered, modal large. And then header title content. Let's just make sure it's cascading down. Okay, that said it changed correctly. So let's look at our code here, our app here. Let's see here. Okay, that's white now. So now we'll make it bigger. I think that's a little better, right? What do you think?
Yeah.
Probably could put spaces between each colon here because that's a little weird.
Yeah.
So we'll do it one more time, and then we'll get off the the modal here. So like space. And again, this is one of those things that you just, when you're building apps and you're going to show this to somebody, just pay attention to the details, you know? And you may hate this, but like if you make it on your own, you may want to make it even better than what I did. I did this in 5 minutes. So.
I think the problem is people will definitely get stuck on the little things, won't they? It's hard for them to see past the little things.
Yeah, so now we got that looks, I think that's accurate. I think they're all one space with the icon here, and then make it bigger. It's wider. Okay. Does that look good to you?
It's good to me.
All right. It's revealed. You have 5 guesses total. I'm going to take the word total out, so it's all on one line.
Okay.
Sorry. You have 5 guesses. All right. And I think that's better. And I know that it won't show like this on mobile, but on mobile size, everything's on 2 lines. Now when it goes bigger, everything should be on 1 line. I think that just looks better. The other thing you could do is try to make all of these like highlighted things the same width or something, but it's kind of weird. I think this is good enough, right?
Yeah, it's good to me.
All right. So then we have an instruction how to play. Button. You could change the color of this button, but I think it's okay to be gray here. It kind of works. You could make it this blue if you want to match that up. So let's do that. So let's look at what that is, and that way our buttons always match. So this is secondary coming out of the our sample, but I'm gonna go look and see how we styled our other buttons. I think it's just primary, but let's look at it. Play again is info, so we're just gonna use info for that. And that's the color. Back here and change one more thing. So where is our button? So that, and just kind of tile it together. Should work. So now, I think that looks better. What do you think?
Yeah.
Good to go?
Yep. Good to go.
All right. Enough of the instructions. Let's do something even cooler. So like inside of Bootstrap, there's things called an off canvas. And so when I hit the settings here, I want something to slide out that shows the settings. And otherwise it's just hidden. Instead of trying to put a bunch of controls on this that you're only going to use once, this should be used to play the game. And then this one's going to be used to set up the game state, but you don't do that all the time. So it should be hidden. So we can, when we hit this, we want it to slide out of here. So we're going to use a different type of control called a off canvas. So that, and we'll make another component to do that. So, and we'll use Bootstrap to do it. To do this, we'll probably have to write a little JavaScript, which is kind of cool. But, just to show you that it's possible. But let's make another UI component, and we'll just call this game settings. So we'll add a new Razor component. We'll call it game settings. Okay, and this is going to use something new. So if we go look at Bootstrap over here, this thing called off canvas is what I'm going to use. And here's the live demo with showing you how that could work. Slides out. And we can put our game settings right here. So that's a common UI thing that you see people do. You can do it with a ref or a button. And you can also just, if you go through here, you can scroll. Has a backdrop if you want to put that on it. There's a dark canvas. It's responsive. It's a lot of things. You can have placements where you can set it to start, end, top, and bottom. So you make them come from the top, whatever you want to end. You can do a right canvas, which is what we're going to do. So we're going to do a right canvas just like that. All right. And so all we need to do is take our canvas here. And this is our button. that targets this thing. So we're just going to take this canvas stuff here and then get it exactly the same way we did it before. Just get it mocked up, then come back and add our stuff to make it work. So pretty easy. So we can go over here to our game settings, and all of this is going to be is a off canvas here. We'll just go here, boom. Okay, and I'm going to put an H1 in here. Game settings light. Okay. All right, and let's see here. If we want to make this data BS themed, let's see, was it themed? Nope. We also want to change our ID. We want to call it something that we know what it is. And so we'll call it off canvas, and then we'll just call this settings. So that way we know kind of what it's going to be called, right? And we'll go ahead and change the title here, game settings. And all right, so all we need to do is get this right. Okay, so see if we can pop it and then see if we can close this. I'm not sure if we can. We probably can, but we're going to put a form in here when they save, and we want to close it when they save. So we'll probably do two things here. I think that's all we need to do for now. And then we can come back over to Obscura, our page, game page, and we're going to drop it again right here. Game settings. And so you can see how it's really clean down here. We've got all of our stuff in here, and then we just need to change our button to call it. And that should be fairly easy to do. So we need a button in here. Here's our questions, and this is our gear. So we need the button in here. So I'm going to go back to Bootstrap, and I'm going to pull this button in. So remember to do everything. And let's put it right down here for now. So don't need this because we got that. We'll go typey button. And we're going to do this. See. And then we'll change it to service our needs. Should be pretty easy. Boom. All right, now look at this. Check this out. So now I have, this is the off canvas, and this is the target. So this is like built in. This says this is an off canvas. Just toggle this thing on and off. Which one do you want me to toggle off? And then we're going to call it, I think we called it settings. I'm going to go check it again to make sure that's what I called it. I did. All right. And controls off canvas right. I think that stays the way it is, I think. All right. And then in here, this is just our gear, our secondary, and this should pop it. Let's see. What do you think, Kevin? Will it work?
Yeah, first time. No problems.
Found code in public. What's Copilot tell me now? Okay. So now all we want to do is pop in our settings panel, and look at that. There it is. Cool. We do want to make it dark. It should close off, and it should close if I hit it. It's pretty cool.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
All right. I do need to make it dark, though. Where is our code here? Oh, well. Okay. So I want to see, it should pop out on mobile. Okay. So let's go over here. We're green settings, and then we'll get to coding here in a second here. We can put our database theme on it. That. This is just all Bootstrap. So like, you know, there's things are the same all the time. All right. Because we did that, we may have to come back and make sure that these are light, but it may just work. Depends on how they coded it, but we'll find out. Cool. That one works. So it toggles it all the way down through it. It's just kind of this right here is light, which is fine. Okay. Cool. All right. This will take some work. There's a lot of work to do this, actually, Kevin. There's a lot of stuff we got to do. The first thing we want to do is we want to create a way to store the settings. And so the settings I want to store is year start, year end. So you could say from 2000 to 2025, 25 years. You could say 1980 to 1990, something like that. So I think that is kind of what we want to do. And so we're going to use a form to do this. And the user will use our form, they'll save their settings, and then it'll restart the game is what it's going to do. All right, so for every form needs a model. So I'm going to put the model right here. I could put it in line with the code, but I'm going to keep it clean out. I'm just going to add a new model right here. And we'll just call it game settings. All right. What in the world? Didn't like that, huh? Why does it like it? Because this has to be underscore. All right. All right. And so we need a year start, and then we need a kinds of stuff. Let's get going here. So I'll say system validations. We're going to validate this model too. Might as well, since it's built into .NET for us. And the first one, we can mark it as required. And we can give this an error message. So public int year start. And then we're going to set this by default to 2000s. Every time we reset this game settings, when we reset our game or whenever we want to reset it, the default will be at 2000. So we'll always have a value, and we're going to read the game settings every time we start to see how to generate our poster. And so this means it will always have a value. And then I can do required error message. And this will be our end year. We select a end year. Okay, something like that. Public int year end. Set that to 2025 for now. We could even get smarter and set it to the current year using datetime or whatever. I'm going to just hard code it to year. That's something that I would probably enhance later, is to set this to a datetime.now.year or something like that. But we'll just do this way for now. I may come back and change that later. We need a genre. We're going to do genres. And we need the ID from our from IMDb. So we're going to be able to get that. Okay. The other thing that we can do in here is we can make this like more enhanced and put some more fancy validation between these. We can make sure that a user can't enter in 2000 to 1980. That would be weird, you know? So like, it's like reverse year. So we're going to make sure that the ending year is always greater than this. And so to do that, I'm going to put an advanced validation in here. So, and because I'm inheriting, I have to implement the interface. So down here, now I have the validate interface in here. And now I can throw my new function in here. And I can say if year end less than or equal to year start. Now, if you tried to do this with JavaScript, you're probably thinking that's kind of cool. Hopefully, anyway. But these are just custom validators that we can write, right? And right, and in year must be greater than start year. And I can't. This on new line. Let's look at it. Okay. So this will return a validator and throw a custom message. And these are validators saying if I don't have a value, this is a required one. This is my custom one. And this is my condition for checking that. So, and then this is the message that I want returned to my UI. Okay. And this is the name of the property that we're validating. So kind of cool. All right. It's pretty simple. So that's our whole class there. That's the whole class, game settings class. And now we can bind that to our model. So I'll come back over to game settings here. And now we can bind it to the model or to the thing here. So I'm going to declare it here. So I'm going to say private. I'm going to say game settings. And just to show you they're different and you can name this whatever, I'm just going to call this form model. And this form model is of this type here. So, you know, a lot of people are confused when they're naming things the same. So I'm going to change this so you can see kind of what's going on here. Okay. And so we're going to bind this model here, this edit form, to this model. And what that means is it must include all the values. You get the form is automatically validated. So let's say equals model, just like that. And then we will make a handle submit function and come down here and we're going to write a method to handle this eventually. We'll just set it up to begin with. Right. And so Copilot forgot its thing. Right. All right. So now we have a handle submit. So when we push a button on this or submit this form, it'll run this code. And then the form itself must have all the properties from this or fields from this model here. Okay. Pretty cool. Let's go ahead and change this. Let's make a, let's just do the year thing real quick. So now I'm going to get this year, so it'll always populate to the current year. So that'll be pretty much easy to do. So, and then we'll just bind that up in our model. All right. So first and foremost, let's lay our form out. So we're going to validate this. So we're going to have our validators in here. This is built into Bootstrap or into Blazor. And we'll put our summary right here. So it'll show any errors up top here. Sometimes I use a summary, sometimes I don't. And let's see your label, game year. It's not a game year, it's a... Okay, we'll take it. This is Copilot. Trying to be helpful. All right. More models start here. Where is that? Oh, we did it. Year start. Okay. I don't know why it's not. So what have I got going on? Okay. World. Private. Game settings. Model equals new game settings. Okay. And then this is public, right? Public class game set. And then require public. I don't know what I've done. Why does it not see those properties? It should see them every time. Well, keep going. So this is this value. So we should be able to say form model dot. Not there.
Jacob made a comment, by the way. It says it thinks game settings is the Razor component, not the class in models.
Oh, that's what it is. So, all right. Let me just rename this thing. Yep, that's my fault. Let me just rename this thing. Because this could be panel. All right, I'm just call this model for now. One of them's got to be named different. All right. And then that'll do it. That was my fault. Sometimes when you're live, you just can't see it, dude. Like you could look at it for 1,000 years. It worked now. So settings, model. Let's take this off. There we go. And now, got it there. Boom. There we go. Finally. Glad someone's here to help me. I don't know how many times I've done that where it's just like you just name two things the same. It just, maybe I wasn't looking at the errors. Maybe I should have been down here looking at the error list. And we'll see. Yep. Okay. So we have a form model here, and then we have our div here, and then that's just, we're going to just stack them on top of each other. Nothing really elaborate here. Okay. But we could make them type them in, you know, or not. Let's give them a selection so they can not get it wrong. So we'll change this up a little bit. And we'll just hard code some values in here. And we'll make a drop down for it. I think that's a way better option than just type in whatever random integer you want. So we want to make sure that they can't screw this up. So say option. Now I don't know what the starting movie is in the history of cinema. 1940 is pretty old. I'm sure there's some 30s. I don't know how much data exists in TMDB for these. I have no idea. So 40 may be a bad idea. And that we would just do that in testing. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, that works. I don't think you want to go back.
Yeah, so I think
right. It might be.
So let me go
I mean,
80,
I
90,
guess.
2000. So got to get 80s in there so we can get Star Wars in, at the very minimum. 90, 1990 peak cinema, 1990 peak cinema. Some people say it's 1970s peak cinema. I don't know.
I just looked it up, by the way,
What
too. They go back to as old as 1894.
Is what?
1894.
19 what?
They go back to 1894.
Really? They had movie cameras back then?
Yeah. I mean, there's quite a lot in 1896, 1895. So.
Okay. We're going to go to 1940.
You got to put it somewhere.
I don't trust them. But this is my app. You can go figure it out you want. We probably could write a query to go pull back the oldest movie, that kind of stuff. But we're going to start with 1940 so that we can reasonably expect to get at least 20 movies back in the 40s. There's also we're going to be searching by genre. So I don't know when genre tracking started. So 1894 was probably, where they walked in there and saw a train heading to the edge of the screen, and they
Great
scared
movie.
people, but the
the storyline, killer.
Yeah, train crashes.
Yeah, exactly. Train on screen. That's the story.
Yeah. So let's take this one and then let's get year end here, and we'll get this going. And year end and then I am going to, for lack of a better option, I would probably, if I wasn't doing this live and I'm making this, rolling this out, these values are dynamic. They should be, but I'm going to hard code them for now so you can see. But you could build a thing to build this list dynamically, So basically what we're doing is we're coding in a little bit of protection here in that the last start year you can have is 2020 and the last end year you have is 2030. So you always get a decade of movies or something like that. That's just what I'm doing. We could definitely make it dynamic, and maybe we'll do that later. All right. So we'll make sure it's validating on the right one. And so now we have year end, year end, year end, year end. Okay. So now we're going to make another one, and this one will be dynamic. And this is where we'll have to write some IMDb code to go back and write a service method here. And this is going to be the genre dropdown. So and you can see there, ChatGPT or Copilot has no idea what we're working on. It thinks we're working on something else, so can't ever trust it. You got to validate it. Okay, and I'm going to do this again. Right, more input select here. Okay. All right. So at first, this is dumb. We can't do it this way. Right? Because we need the ID. So we definitely need the ID here.
You have a typo there, by the way, on line 40 in genre select.
Let's see. What did I call this? Didn't call it genre. Must have called it something else. Select the genre. There we go. Okay, so we're going to leave that empty until we have something here. I'll go ahead and put an option in here because we can do this in stages because we need to write All right, so we'll have something like that to begin with. And then we'll check this 0 value or something like that. And then finally, we need to write a button to close this off with. So a save. And then in here, button type equals submit. Then say class equals btn dash btn. Actually, we used info, so we'll just say btn dash info. That's the color we were using everywhere. And save changes, something like that. Okay, because this is a submit button, this will invoke this method here. All right. So, and now I have some drop downs and my 3 values I want to collect. I want to collect a start, an end, and I want to collect a genre. And we're going to have to go out to our TMDB to get the genres and fill them up here. And then when I handle submit here, I want to close my button, and I also want to run a method on my page. So I want to have a callback parameter. All right. So let's wire that up here. So parameter, and this will be a callback. And this is what's really powerful about components is I can make this component dumb, and I just collect the values and then ship them back to the page, and the page already knows how to call TMDB. I don't have to write up TMB services calls in here. I can just do it all from one spot. So, but to do that, I have to call I have to send it back. So this will be on submit, which is this method here, invoke async form model. So it'll pass the entire form model back. And that's why we did a game settings model here, because we need to make sure that we can collect those values and have a common way to pass it between pages. And this is what this component will do. And then we'll come back and we're going to enhance this to work with the genres, and we'll do that in a little bit later. Okay. But let's make sure that this can work. The other thing that I know that we need to do is when we hit the apply button, we expect this to close. And so I can call some JavaScript here to close this automatically, because any component inside of Bootstrap can be executed with JavaScript. So let's add and inject JS runtime in here, right? And I am surprised that we don't need this, but I think we're going to need this. I thought I did this, but data annotations, so that this will work. So then in here, I can write JavaScript. Now, normally when you do with JS is you have to like import a JavaScript file. Well, this isn't custom. This is a library that's known to be existed, and it knows we know about it, and it's already installed. So I can just like call it. So I've done this before. So I am going to call it, and I'm not going to trust Copilot. So I'm going to bootstrap dot off canvas, and this is just from their docs, so just go with it. And so I will say that writing JavaScript in these is kind of hard, but it's okay. I mean, it's not bad. It's just you got to know exactly what you're doing. And it's like inside of a string, and it's not as easy to do. But I need to write some JavaScript here. To get the element that I want, which is my offs. And this is the, what did I call this thing? Off Kansas settings. Yep. So I'm getting the get element by ID, and I'm going to get the element by ID and pass it to this get instance, and this gets the instance of it so that it can do what it needs to do. Question mark, hide. This is straight from the docs. I think that should work. Get instance off canvas. Bootstrap. All right. Let's see what's wrong here. Invoke void async does not. This is JS runtime. What did I call this? JS runtime, right? This needs to be a wait. All right. And so what this will do is just close it when we hit this. So let's run that and just see if we got a form, number one. And then number two, can we close it when we hit submit? And then we'll work on our integration into TMDB. And then work on integrating it into our call. And then hopefully we can have settings up. How are we doing on time? We got 30 minutes. Can I do it in 30 minutes, Kevin?
Let's see. Challenge on.
You're not committing to it. So like you can see here, we got our drop downs here. So that's kind of cool. You know, and then we got our genres, which we're going to fill that up in a second here. And then if I hit save, this should work. And it didn't. All right. Handle submit. Let's see if it is working. And here. Okay, so that is not working. All right, so let's look in and see why it's not firing. I said type equals submit. It's inside the form. This is something that plagues me, the way autocomplete works. And I will say, if I'm not the only one that's done this, but when you type this in on, or on, let me stop it here. And it's not their fault. It's not like Visual Studio's fault. It's just something you got to pay attention to. So when you're typing this in, the first one that comes up in the list is on valid submit, invalid submit. And this is really what we want to do is we want to run this when it's valid. And they look similar, but you have to get the second one because it needs to be on valid. Now you can run a method when it's invalid, but we don't really care about that. So that's why our button didn't work. I mean, because it was saying only run the code when it's invalid. We're saying, well, it's valid. So just something
like
to look at.
A strange thing for it to default to, doesn't it? Because, I mean, that seems like a rare version of usage, right? I guess alphabetical, but that, yeah, which shows you it's kind of dumb, right? It's
well, maybe I'm the only Blazor programmer that has that problem, and everyone.
No,
else
I don't think that's true. Surely, when submitting a form, most forms would be on valid submit, right?
Yeah. All right. I'm gonna hit save changes. Yeah. And then it's going to go away here. So we'll just let it run. Yeah. So we'll take this out and just test it and make sure that it's okay. Now what I did notice is I refresh the page. This doesn't have a year set up. So we need to make sure that there's a year set up here by default. Let's look at that. See, what did I do? do that. Why didn't it just go to the first one? It was empty. The other one, did I have a select in here? Nope. Did I not bind it? I did. Did I set it somewhere in here? However, what I'm going to do is build a dynamic one here. Value. And its value is at this year, that variable that I just made. And it'll say at this year. Surprised it didn't select. Oh. I don't think this matters, but we'll just put it in here. Do not think that matters. Form model bind value, form model year end. Oh, I bet you I don't have it in my model. That's because there's no value there. That's a problem. So all right, it'll work now, but by dumb luck, because it's 2025. So I'm not going to mess around with that right now. I'll come back, and next week we'll come back when if we're still working on this, we'll come back an improvement. That'll make it match the default value in our class. I should probably default the class to today's date when it's created, and then but it wouldn't have an option in here for that. Okay, so I need to do the same. I need to just fix that. I think I need to do that. So let me see if this in the class here. This is it. Yeah. Take the string off. All right. So now the year end always defaults to year. So that should work. Should. And yeah, year should be fine. All right. So if I go settings here, it still works. Okay. So we do have that at the top. I could put this at the bottom. I don't know where this is going to be, so I just put it at the top. It's kind of weird, isn't it? But like I said, I think this needs to be dynamic to begin with. Like we would just go and look at some dynamics and then try to order them and that kind of stuff. But you get the point. Okay. All right. So let's work on getting some genres into this model here. So in here, I want to be able to fill this up with valid genres from TMDB API. So we probably need to, or we go over to our service and write some more code. And then get some genres out. All right, so let's look at TMDB API. I think I can get to it. TMDB API. And API reference. And I wonder if there is a genre input. No. But let's change this. There's just got to be a genre endpoint. There we go. All right. I was getting scared, Kevin, that I've put a feature in that didn't exist in the
That would be a problem.
It's like, sorry, boys, we just can't get genres. They don't have it. So, like, but it is. There is an endpoint here where we can say, give me a genre for movies, give me a list of all the official genres in movies. Okay. So this is pretty stinking simple. And it gives us that number, that ID we're looking for, and the name. So we can build a value based pair from this right here. So I'm not logged in. So, but we know how it works. So this is our URL. So even has C# code in here. Kind of cool. We're not using it this way, but that's okay. But this is the endpoint we want. Genre/movie/list, English language. So we'll take that and then we'll write an endpoint for it. So that's kind of what we're looking for. We'll probably need a model here, I believe, but let's look at our models here. I may already have a model in here in the movie model. So I got a movie model, got genre IDs already coming back. I got a movie details. And I think this class will work for us. You know, I think it will. Except I'm going to need another class here. I just know how this works. So like, in general, this is going to return, if we go back and look at our response here, I have to log in, but I can't log in from up here. But like, anyway, this is going to return an array of objects. And this is the object. So I need another one that has just a response of a list of these. So that's kind of what it's going to return, just like it did all the other ones. So if you look at the way credits work, you have that, you have cast, right? And it has a list of cast here. So I need something similar, and cruise the same way. I need something simple here. So I'm going to say public class, and I'll just call it genre response. Yeah, that'll work. All right. So when I make this call, this is what I'll get, but it boils down into a list of these types of things right here. And that way I can use the same objects for all the calls. Right. All right. All right. So let's look at our service here. And so inside of our service here, we have this thing right here. If you remember, this is where everything is set up with our keys and all that kind of stuff. It also sets up this base address, which all of our calls need to use. So then we can come down here and we've got search, movie details, random movie, and we can just add another one here. We just made it. It's going to be genre response. So that's the one that we want to use here. We just made that class. It's going to be a list of genres. Okay. And we'll just call it get genre async. Maybe. Probably genres. Let's make it plural. Wow. Copilot's on its game. All right, I'm going to check this though. I did pull this in. So this is what I pulled in. So I knew that this was my base genre movie list question mark English language US. I think that's correct. Except I think it's this, but let me look. Did we do this elsewhere? ENUS. Okay, Copilot is right. Pretty cool. All right. Let's check this. Get JSON from async, our URL. It's got our JSON options in it because it knew about that. Pretty slick. This is the type that we want coming back. And then we also, sure, yeah, same kind of thing, return response. Awesome. That was easy. This is where you like Copilot, that one, Kevin. It looked
Sometimes
at this.
It just works. It's because it's looked at the code right above it, right? Like
yeah.
Knows, yeah.
And it knew what object I was going to return when I typed this in right there. So it kind of said, oh, yeah. It also knew about the TMDB API, which was kind of cool. But it put it in my format, not the other format that it wanted. So pretty cool. But that's the rarity. I don't know if it's rare. It's just, it's hit and miss some days. So now that we have an endpoint, right? So we have this service that we're going to call. So now we can call this from our page here. And so now our page will call the genres, and then we can pass those genres that we get into our dumb components. So remember, components don't access data. You give them data, and then it returns data. So it doesn't really hit the database or hit an endpoint. It could, but we're not going to do that. So what I'm going to do is on initialize, since the genres are static, in other words, like all genres are the same. I mean, like, it's just a static list. We can call it when the thing initializes. That's all we needed. And that'll give us everything that we want. Because it's only one list of genres. It's not variable. So I'm just going to go here. And I need a list of genres here. So I'm going to go ahead and make a list of genres. I haven't done that yet. So private list of genres. Come on, baby. Yep. There we go. And now, say genres. And this is my service. And that's my call. I thought that's what I called it, but it's saying I didn't. Did I save it? But that's okay. I know that's what I called it. I called it something like that. Let's see here. Oh, it was in the interface. Forgot about that. Let me go do my interface. And then here. So task. List of genres. Get async. All right, so now go back here. This should find it now. Right. There it is. All right. Cool. So now genres come out, and now we have a list. And what we can do is, once this is loaded, we can pass this as a component or as a variable into our component. And so like, if we look up here, game settings could have a component. So let's add a parameter to this thing now that we have it. And so let's add another one. And then we're just going to pass in a set of the genres that we just retrieved. So we'll also make this required. So this is like editor required. You got to have this or this thing's not going to work. And this is a list of genre. And we'll call them genres. Something like that. Okay. So now this thing's being passed in. So now we can go back to our page here, and now we can add this as a component. So if we save everything, save all, it should say, give us a warning that it does. Say genres equals this variable right here. So that it knows the difference between, this is the property name, this is the variable, and this is what's being set in our initialization when the component gets initialized. And it is of type list genre there. Kind of cool. So now, once we have that, come back over here. Now we have a list. So the simple part of just binding to that list now in our panel, and then we should get a list of genres. So we have this option here. So this should be very easy to do. For each a caps lock off, for each, let me see here, for each genre in genres, the value is the ID, and then that is the name. Boom. All right, let's run it. So I wrote a little bit of code, but hopefully you'll see all the genres in the database from TMDB. We got an error. Yes, it does. Okay, let me change my interface. Then save. Then go back to the service. Now, hopefully that'll run. So interface always has to match your service. Okay. What did I do here? Okay, so this is response. Right. And let's call this genre response. Okay, and then here in our component, now that we've got this right here, we will change the way our component works. So we'll say on our response, genres. All right. All right. That should work. Hopefully, anyway. Blew up. All right, that's fine. What's it saying? Genres cannot be null. All right, so it's null coming in. So let's look at it. Let's look at this right here. refresh it. It sets it too quick. It's null. Okay. All right. That's all right. So let's look at our service here. Let's check it here. Let's see what this looks like. Okay, I'm going to fix this right now. So I'm going to change the way this works. I think. Let's make this a list of genres like we had it before. Okay, and then stop this right here. And this is going to be a list of genre. Just in case it's null for whatever reason. Okay, so now we're just returning that list instead of messing with that response object. So, and then this will return just the list that we want. And the same here. We need to know. And now this is list of genre. So let's go look in here. And this is genres. Now change our components. Where's the component? All right, and then look at our component. Yep. And that would be each genre and genres. All right. I think that'll work now. Okay, what do we got here? Where is this? Okay, this time we got genres back. It's kind of cool. So action, family, music. Cool. I'll let it run. Let it run. Let it run. All right, Kevin, here's the magic. What do you think?
Let's see.
I'm
not managing my bets. Go on.
You don't believe in me?
Yeah,
That's
it's gonna
what
work.
You don't believe in me.
Of course it's gonna work.
So there we go. That's the genres according to IMDb API. That's what they got. War, Western, thriller, TV movie, science fiction, romance, mystery. You know,
TV
crime,
movie. That's
comedy.
a pretty terrible category to be in, isn't it? Like, we're not even. Is that even a genre? Like, that's.
Well, I'm surprised they don't have the Hallmark genre in here. That's what they should have. You know.
Yeah, I get maybe that's TV movie. I don't know, but surely even that is like a romance or something, right? Like, how can it be a genre TV movie? That seems weird, right? Is that the oddest like genre ever? Yeah, I specialize in TV movies. Really?
That's it. Yeah, I'm on Hallmark. I've been signed for 5 years for Hallmark movies. Just Christmas though, you know, just Christmas Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
All right, so I think we've got them in here. Documentary, drama. You know, that's what they have. So what's cool about this is we're not trying to make up genres. We're pulling it from them. So anytime you pick one of these genres, apparently there's a movie there's some movies that's classified as TV movie. I will say this: movies can be in multiple genres. So when you see science fiction, it can also be an adventure, like Star Wars, how it's classified. So they're just saying that you can be in one to many of these. We got genres. So now what I need to do is when I hit save, I need to use the things that they select here, mystery, and then I need to be able to like check it. So notice here it's keeping my values because that model is set. So whatever I put in here is going to keep my values. Kind of cool. All right. And what I want to happen is when I hit save, it closes this down, changes the game settings, and then probably reruns this game to get a new movie based on what I just selected. And then from here on out, it's got settings, you know, it'll come in. And now we're not going to, we could probably persist these settings to local storage. Maybe we'll get around to that and then it could pull it back up. But we're not going to do that. So, or maybe we will. Maybe we'll get around to saving it. I don't know. We'll see. So, but let's see if we can at least restrict this to like old movies or something like that. So let's look and see what we got to do. Now we have a working model here. Let's take away our breakpoint. So that was harder than I thought. We got through it though. We got it figured out. It's all good. All right. So the next thing I want to do is figure out like how in the world do I apply these game settings to my stuff. So let's look at our service here and see how we coded our service here. Look at this. We were smart, Kevin. We already have them in there. Get random movie. We have a year start, a year end, and a genres. We were forward thinking. Okay. That's cool. We've already done it. All we have to do now is pass these values in here and pass these genres in here and make sure that we use them with genres. Okay, and now we need to see what the value is here. I think these are IDs, so we need to figure out like how this could work. You know, we need to figure that out. I think it uses IDs. We'll go look at that, but I bet you we can start with the years and figure it out. Okay, so right now it's coded if it's not null or empty. So like if we just leave it empty for now, then this will default to no genre pick. So let's see if we can get the year ends to start. See if we can get that to work. All right, so let's go back to our page here and see where we call our service. Look at that, year start, year end, selected genres. We already have done this right here, and this is our new game here. Okay, so let's see where year start is. We're going from 70 to 25, and our genres is empty. Okay. All right, so we need to pull this back from our component. So this component needs to send this back to us. All right, so we need to like pick that up real quick. So we have a callback on our component. All right, so there is an on submit here, and then in that submit, it does pass the model back, and it gives us a method that we can run. All right, so let's see kind of what we want to do here. So let's go over here and let's do game state here. Game flow, play again, reset game state. Let's make a new one. And we'll say apply game settings. And I think what we'll do is when that thing comes back, we'll run this and we'll see kind of what, if we can set those variables, which we can, and then it should just work. Should just work. Really should. All right. And our model is this thing right here. So we'll say game settings model. We'll call this game settings. This is what's getting passed in here. And then we'll say year start equals game settings year start, year end, game settings year end. We'll start with there. Okay. And we'll go if, let's go ahead and do this. If settings, edit, game settings. Get this working one step at a time. Then we'll say selected genre equals empty string. Okay, so we'll pull everything back from this. Now we need a way to get this. All right, so this doesn't mean it. Wait. Now, because we have a component here that is set up to return this, okay, and it's called on submit, then we can declare this property over on the other page and tell it what to run. So let's do that. So we go to pages here and go back over here, and go back to where our component is defined. And this is it right here. So we can, it should give us on submit, and we'll say apply game settings. So now when that thing is saved, it'll call this method. It will set these values, set them up. All right. And what should happen is probably reset the game. Okay. So let's look at game state. And this is the reset the game state, or we can say new game, reset game, play again. Let's just call play again. And that should do everything we want. Reset new game, show random square. And then if we set reset game state, it's doing nothing with years. New game. New game. It's passing those variables here, which we're setting on our stuff. All right, cool. This will work. Play again. All right, Kevin. How smart are you on movies, Kevin?
Not smart enough to guess ones from 40s and 50s.
But I think that's what we should test it with, so we can at least look at the poster and see kind of like, yeah,
Sure.
that's from the 40s or 50s. Or we could do 70s. You know, maybe we can do 70s, give ourselves a chance.
Yeah.
All right. So this is going to make a poster here, right? So it's got a poster here. We don't really care. So I'm going to go to my game settings here. What do you want to do? So 70s to 80s. All right. So this should be something like that. And hopefully this will just work. Please work. Doesn't look like it worked, did it?
No. It's hung there.
Okay, let's see what it did. Let's just see what it did. And maybe it can't find a movie, but maybe it can. And so let's just see if this is working. Save. Okay. So it popped in here. Now we're popped in here. So this is start 1970, start year end 1980. Okay. Play again. I'm going to say step into. Step into new game. Okay. Now we can look at this 70, 80, empty string. All right. So this should bring back a random movie, right?
You would think.
So let's step into that one. Yeah. And step over. So we've got 70, 80, empty string. So we're calling our discover endpoint.
Is it something to do with it being an empty string, though? Because it's...
Well, we know that empty string works because that's the way it was before.
Okay.
Your start is not null and your end is not null. Do this, but it's not. It's not null. Okay, so we haven't ran this code before. So now base URL is 700101 and release date 1980 to 1231. Okay.
Seems right.
I'm assuming that's valid because I did it before. So it was working when we just set it anyway. So I'm assuming this is right? Because it was working before. And then the problem I think is the random pages. So like, let's limit the search to the first 20 pages. What if there's only 19? Let's see what it does.
Nah, there's more than that. There's lots. There's thousands of movies in that search range.
So we have a random page of 17. Okay, so like we come back. This is my page, and my vote count has to be higher. I got this and that. Blah 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 blah. Do I have a movie? Results: 20 movies. Okay. Page 17, total pages 18. So let's go here. Okay, this is it. And then it says, give me a filtered movies or poster path where it has a poster. Okay, so that limits them even further. So now I got some movies in here, man. All right, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's going to be lots that still meet this criteria for sure.
Battle Beyond the Stars. Look at that. A young farmer sells a brand of diverse mercenaries to defend his peaceful planet.
So it's obviously failing past this point.
Yeah. If it's greater than 0, okay, so now from here we should get a random movie. And it picks a random movie. I'm not going to look at it, but, does it have a poster path? It does have a poster path. So it should return a random movie.
Right.
Okay. This is where I think we must have ran into a scenario where no movie was found. And then but we'll see here. We'll have to test that logic. But it didn't do it.
Try play again to see what happened.
Okay. Okay, I don't know what this is.
I don't know.
In the face of every car, it burns a straw dog. I don't know. Dustin Hoffman. Okay, that's showing.
Okay, so it's the genre. So the decade is right.
Sounds like it. We're going to check it here in a second.
It's going to.
Like, straw. I don't know what this movie is. We know it's not this, but like Sam Peckinpah. Oh, that clears it all up. It does look like a 70s poster because it's actually painted, you know. I don't know what this is. Okay.
Go for
Straw Dogs 1971.
Yeah, maybe that first clue was the thing. There you go.
Okay, so that was 1971. That did work.
Why didn't it work the first time you changed it?
Don't know. Go here. And I'm going to change it to 60 to 70. Save it. And I'm just going to go through this thing to see if it's working. So I do think, while this might be the best television, like, I think you need to understand, like, how to debug and, like, how you figure crap out. You know, this is part of the, part of it. So, boom, boom, boom. And I'm going to, yes. I'm going to step over this thing and see if it returns another movie. I'm hoping I can find out why it didn't do it. We're on to page 5. Initial response. There's 20 movies in this response. Okay, I think this worked. It's like the squares aren't being revealed or the first hint. Maybe it's just something I'm not calling.
Jacob said, I think Blazor may not update the UI since Play Again is not weighted after updating the game settings.
So I needed to call reset game state. All right, let me just do that. Let me look at it. So where was that? Play Again's async. Oh, what's an async? Okay. So let me. I should have noticed that. But it says await. Play again. Play again. What's it saying? Oh, and now this is async task. Async task. Now let's try it. I'm taking the thing off. I think what it was is that it just didn't update the UI like Jacob was saying. Therefore, it worked. Beauty and the Beast. Okay. So I'm going to go here and I'm going to change this to 70 to 80. And then boom.
Well,
we know this movie, right?
That one's a bit of a giveaway.
But that was in what, 77 or something like that?
Well, this is going to be Superman 2, I'm thinking, because that's General Zod at the bottom. That's my guess.
78. right? You think it's Superman 2.
Was Zod in Superman 2? Was he in Superman 1?
Who?
General Zod. But I think it was.
Oh,
it
you think General Zod's down here?
I think so, but I don't know. I could be wrong.
All right, we're going with you, man. You're this is on you now. I believe a man can fly. It's Superman 1. Like, I know the tagline. Yeah,
Okay.
This is 78.
Okay.
Superman. You can believe a man will fly. You have to get it right? Yes. Yeah.
Oh, there you go. So it was.
Look at that. Lex Luthor right there. Look at that. That's pretty cool. Let's hit play it again. And guess what? We got a new movie. They were meant to be, but exactly what they were meant to be is not quite. They were meant to be, but exactly what they were meant to be is not quite clear. Who knows? There's a yellow thing here.
Do the genre too.
People.
See if the genre works.
Huh?
Do its genre as well. That should work now too, right?
Okay. Well, we can start working on genre next. So we does work. It looks like it's pulling back the right decade. So next thing we want to do is figure out if we can get genre setting working. Okay. So let's look at our game here and see kind of what it's looking for. It's looking for an ID, I do believe. I'm going to check it though. I need to check to see if that's what it's looking for. So if I go over here to movie list, and we're using Discover movie, and it's going to be looking here what it's looking for. Make sure we pull back the right thing. Comma delimited list string. I think it's IDs. I think it is. I don't think it's the text, because everything's a string. You know what I mean? Should give me a sample. These types 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm going to go with the IDs, and then we'll go from there and see what it does. All right. So let's get rid of this, and let's go with the ID that came back. So game settings. I'm going to set this right here, and let's just look at it and see what we get back. I'm going to select a genre this time, and then I'm just going to look at it, and then hopefully it works. Settings, 70s to 90s. What genre you want, Kevin?
I don't know. Sci-fi, maybe?
Sci-fi. You didn't pick TV movie?
No, I wouldn't know any.
All right. 20 years of sci-fi movies. All right. From the 70s to the 90s. All right. So save. All right. So now we can look at our game settings here. And we have 878 is a genre here. Okay. I don't think we have to adjust anything, but we're going to check it just in case. So maybe we do. All right. Let me just look into that, and let's look and make sure we. Oh, new game. I didn't mean to do that. How do you kill something that can't possibly be alive? I don't know. I don't know what this is. Is this Nightmare on Elm Street?
No.
What do you think?
This could be
Weird.
Constantine, maybe? Was that I don't know if that is. Just looking at the NE at the end, I don't know if that's a thing, but is that a sci-fi movie?
I don't know. Keith Gordon takes a spotlight in this one. That's the, I don't know.
Oh, I don't. I really.
Mastermind.
Oh, it's Christine.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead, give it away.
Yeah. All right, now let's see what it says. This horror flick. We didn't pick horror though.
Yeah, but I'd also say that it's sci-fi too. This is one of those with multiple genres for sure. It's tag sci-fi.
Okay. All right. Let's make sure that it does it again. I want to look and see if it's doing it correctly. So we'll pick changes and we'll go back. And this should be it. I mean, this should be it. We got it done here. All right. So this is our game settings. And so let's look at it one more time. Insert, play. All right. So now, so we have nothing in here. That's what I thought. Selected genres. We didn't fill that out. All right. So let's stop it and look at that. So let's go back to our apply settings. And then we're looking at selected genres as a string, and we have this list of genres coming back. This is a list. So we need to turn this into something. So we'll just go here. Else. Selected genres. We're looking for strings and settings. Game settings. Yep. And that's the int. So we're getting the value out of the drop down. Okay. This will work, Kevin. And then we're done. We got genres in here. Cool. And this took a while, but a lot of debugging today. But the only way you can verify it. I do think we should add this to local storage, so I don't have to keep doing this. This is irritating me. So let's go 80s, the 60s. What is obviously we can pick here? Let's pick romance because we know that'll be obvious, right? Right. You know, what else is obvious to you? Maybe horror would be obvious. Let's do horror. We know that's obvious too. All right, so let's step through it. This is my game settings, and my selected genre is 27. So now it's going to turn this in here to get this out. So it should turn it out. And then this is now 27, which is horror. Right. And let's step over. Let's step into it. Step over. Step into new game. And then step into this. This is still holding through. Still got 27 in here. It's hard to see, but there's 27 in there. And then let's step into that. Yes. And then let's step over our code here and see what it does. So we got genres 27. So it should be tacked onto here when we get down right here. So step over. So it's going to add it. Okay. It does it. And random page is 17. Initial response. Look at that. We got 4 pages. That really kind of brought it down, right? But we got a random page of 17. So this will be a good test for our other stuff here.
Yeah.
So total pages is 4. Filtered movies. Initial response where here. Filtered movies count equals 0. Okay, that sucks. Okay, so let's here. No movie found. Retry page. Those total pages. All right. Okay, total pages. Base URL. Same URL with just this page. That should return a movie. Total results 70. Results. All right, there we go. All right. Did return a movie. Got a movie. There you go. I looked at the title. So I won't waste anyone's time. 1963, The Raven. And then this is from 60 to 80. So that's right. So we'll guess it. Close. Look at that movie poster.
Cool.
Yep. So if we play again, we know what this one is. You know that one?
Yeah. I think everyone should know this one, right?
Yeah. Looks like it's working because that was in 1979.
Yeah. So
again, our settings are from 80 to 60.
Yeah.
Check it out, man. That's really cool. Like, I mean, in my opinion, a masterpiece of horror, and it's staying with our horror film.
Yep.
This is a great tagline.
It's funny, yeah, because that dates itself, doesn't it?
That outs it right there. I know exactly what this is. You know, I don't know what this is.
I don't know this one.
I don't know. Vampire, Dracula. I don't know, man. Who's afraid of Dracula? Nobody. Yes, that's not it. Jack Nicholson. Ooh, The Shining.
Oh, Shining.
Yeah. This is a masterpiece of horror.
Yeah.
It was aptly named.
Well, I don't know about modern horror, though. That's the problem. It's definitely dated.
But like, yeah. Where's Johnny? All right. We did it, John. We did it. We did it. You know, I do think what's cool about this for me, when you put in these different decades, just seeing movie art from the different decades is kind of cool.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
I think that's cool. So this totally works. In the next series, I think we add this to local storage. I'll do that. So you don't have to redo it all the time. And then that's about it, right? Oh, we could add a trailer.
Oh, yeah. We talked about a button for the trailer. Yeah, maybe we'll do that.
Yeah, we could put the trailer in our win condition and you could watch it. So we'll do that in the next session. So hopefully you guys liked it. So see you next time. What do you think, Kevin?
Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
Scaro's live. I mean, I add local storage to it, add in a trailer. I think we got a complete game, you know, that you could wow your friends with.
You can at least play.
Yeah. At least play it, you know, and then you could test your own knowledge or whatever. It's kind of cool. All right, man. Well, I'm going to go eat some lunch.
Yep.
It is late. So we did it 2 hours and 30 minutes, a little longer today, but you know, it was kind of complicated, or maybe not. I don't know. Maybe some of the people are like, I should have been doing it faster, but you know, I did learn, just make sure you know that you can't name two things the same. They're both classes and they can't have the same name.
There you go.
So
that's the one takeaway for sure. If you learn nothing else.
One takeaway today. That probably took us 15 minutes. So but other than that, pretty cool. I like Obscura. It's neat.
Definitely.
All right. See you next time, guys.
We'll see everybody later. Bye-bye.